Recording. Hello, and welcome to another Chicago Blockchain Real Estate Collective Meetup. I'm your host, Adam Carswell, joined as always by my co-host, Michael Flight, the CEO of LibertyFund.io. Michael, thank you for joining me today. Are you excited for what we have in store?
I am very excited. I met Mohsin at the LA Blockchain. We were both on a panel together, and he was the guy that was doing the most talking and actually knew the most about what he was talking about. And the really cool thing that I saw with Mohsin is a lot of people that are in the security token space, especially doing platforms, are all really tech guys, and they don't know a whole bunch about real estate. But Mohsin is not only a tech guy, and he's kind of like Spencer Dinwiddie, you know, a tech guy with a jump shot. But Mohsin is a tech guy who knows real estate. So that's why I really wanted to have him on. And then the exciting part is that, you know, he's just started his platform, got it fired up in October. And he's got some assets listed on there, and they're you know, picking up new assets. So he's going to go through and explain the whole, you know, process, which is going to be very cool.
Awesome. Yes. And so first of all, thank you for everyone tuned in with us here live today. Really appreciate it. Thank you for investing your time with us. Definitely going to get a lot of value out of today, as Michael has said. And if you're joining us on the replay, hello. Be sure to subscribe there and check out the show notes for links connected to today's message. And if you're listening on the Dream Chasers platform, be sure to drop a rating and subscribe there and follow the link to the video as well. So here we go. Mohsin Masud is speaking to us today with the topic, tokenizing real estate to the next level. So we're definitely going to the next level here today. For those of you listening, I know Michael's probably laughing right now because that's kind of like my catchphrase. So yes, guys, we are going to the next level today. Michael, did you want to paint a little bit more context before I give Mohsin's bio, the official
why don't you
bio?
go through his bio? Because you know, it's one of those really long ones. It could take up to like half of the show to do. So.
Here we go, guys. So Mohsin Masud is the CEO and founder of Tokenism, a real estate investment platform working towards democratizing commercial real estate investments. He is an expert in real estate development and tokenomics, specifically utilizing dual and 3-token blockchain architecture for the tokenization of real-world assets. Mohsin has over a decade of experience in real estate investments, development, and having run a successful investment company. He has studied at York University, Harvard Business School, the Graduate School of Design at Harvard University, and most recently at said business school at University of Oxford, with, I should say, a focus on finance, real estate development, urban designing, and of course, blockchain. Boom. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome one more time to the Chicago Blockchain Real Estate Collective Meetup. This is Mohsin Masud, and I am going to pass it over to you, my friend. The microphone is yours.
Thank you so much, Adam. I don't think I've ever had such a detailed and such an interesting intro before. Greatly appreciate it. Thanks so much for all of that. And thanks, Michael, as well, to both of you for having me here. As Michael was telling you guys earlier, we've just launched our platform in October. The platform is called Tokenism. You can all visit it at tknism.io. Just to give you a little bit of background on myself, and then I'll tell you more about what Tokenism is doing, how we're tokenizing assets, and how we are helping people raise funds for their projects or their existing assets and gain liquidity out of usually a fairly illiquid asset by creating that secondary marketplace. So as Adam mentioned, I've gone to all of those schools, but in my previous life, I ran a small private equity fund, and I was syndicating deals mostly on the real estate side. I managed assets north of $500 million globally, which included my family's real estate assets as well, not just in the US, but across Europe, Middle East, and Asia as well. Early 2018 is when I was introduced truly to the underlying technology, blockchain. And that's when we started working on tokenizing real estate assets. It was an aha moment where it's like fractional real estate is the way to go. We syndicate deals day in, day out. Why can't we tokenize them, bring the threshold down a lot lower, get a lot more people on board on the real estate investing side, and get them involved on this side as well, all the while increasing the value of the assets for the current asset owners, giving them away for fractional ownership, and then getting more liquidity by having that secondary marketplace in place as well, where they can buy, sell, and trade all of their current holdings. So that's just a little bit about tokenism, just to start off with. Just to give you a perspective, 26% of adults living in the United States want to invest in real estate, and only less than 5% of commercial real estate in the United States is owned by individuals or LLCs or so.
Tokenism is an online real estate investment platform for new and experienced investors. By using artificial intelligence and blockchain technology, we've created a secure and intuitive marketplace that enables people to invest in institutional-grade commercial real estate opportunities. Until now, direct private market investing has been largely inaccessible due to the high investment thresholds, forcing investors to settle for suboptimal investment vehicles offering low returns or limited flexibility. The solution is investing in fractionalized real estate. By using blockchain, the underlying technology behind cryptocurrencies, we are able to fractionalize real estate properties and offer those ownership fractions for sale as digital securities. Unlike traditional cryptocurrencies, these tokens are backed by real tangible assets, and the immutability of blockchain guarantees an investor's ownership. Tokenism offers access to this formerly unavailable investment class. Diversify your portfolio with affordable tokenized direct investments in properties of your choosing, starting as low as $1,000. Start your real estate investment journey today with Tokenism.
So just a quick promotional video of sorts, just to explain what tokenism is really doing, right? So we're listing all commercial real estate assets on our platform by tokenizing them. We're bringing on properties across all verticals, whether they're ground up developments, redevelopment projects, or stable income properties. I think the more important bit for this group is how are we doing that? We charge a very small fee, a 2% fee of every transaction that takes place. That means 1% from the buyer, 1% of the seller. We charge the owners a 3% initial fee. I'm gonna actually get into more of how the tokenization bit works at this stage, as opposed to just talking about what tokenism is doing. What the legal structure that we've formed for doing this is there's a holding entity for every asset. Adam, are you able to see my screen, or do I need to?
Not seeing the screen right now.
Sorry.
We've got you.
So essentially how we've gotten to tokenization is we spoke with the SEC, FINRA, and CFTC, the three regulators who are the sole deciders or the people responsible for allowing or not allowing this to happen. And we came to a point where we're actually tokenizing the economic interest in each asset at this point, till it's not the actual underlying asset, but each asset is held in a legal entity, and that legal entity is then tokenized. By that entity being tokenized, every token holder actually has interest within the entity as well, and therefore is the indirect owner of that asset. The benefits of tokenization is obviously greater liquidity, faster transactions. So we look at transactions in 60 seconds. We've created smart contracts. The dual token and the 3-token technology comes into play, where there's a financial token and there's an asset token. The financial token, it represents your US dollars, eliminating volatility from the cryptocurrency side. So it's a stable coin of sorts, which is 100% backed by US dollars, but only used for transactions on our platform, which eliminates the volatility and the risk from a compliance perspective as well. and the asset token gets transferred using that smart contract. So the whole transaction takes less than 60 seconds to record on Ethereum blockchain, despite it being fairly slow sometimes in the high gas fees. It does not. It's a fairly quick process. Excuse me. The current challenges that we've identified, which tokenism truly resolves for, is while everyone wants to invest in real estate or commercial real estate specifically, they're not able to because of the high barrier to entry. So that number that I mentioned before, that 26% of the adults think real estate is the best form of investment, but they're not able to get into that investment purely because it is too expensive for them. It is fairly illiquid compared to capital markets. There's a lack of data and information. So if you're involved in a syndicated deal, or if you're trying to syndicate a deal, sharing that information is more and more difficult. You have to use costly intermediaries like escrow companies, like custodians, and so on. And there's still a potential for fraud, whether it's wire fraud or there's a fraud on the side of a developer, or either which way. Tokenism resolves that by providing a $1,000 minimum, or tokenization in general provides that by lowering that barrier to entry, whether it's 1,000, 5,000, 10,000. It increases the liquidity because now there's a secondary marketplace where developers or people who are syndicating deals don't have to worry about redemptions anymore. They don't have to worry about their cap table loss anymore because it's all happening on a secondary trading platform. And it increases the access to data. So because all the information about the asset is now available on whatever platform it is being tokenized, or at least on Tokenism, we have a property dashboard where all the information gets directly updated. The developer doesn't need to go back and forth between each individual investor. It automatically pushes through to all the investors. There's no more dependency on intermediaries, no escrow companies required, no title companies required per se, or lawyers required. There's one PPM that goes out directly on the Tokenism platform. We set it up for the sponsors of the project. We set it up for the asset owners. We manage the entire cap table for the project. We're the custodian in certain ways. We're the escrow company in certain ways. But essentially, when you're tokenizing assets, all of those people are gone. I'm saying we're custodians and escrow companies in certain ways, but we're not, because the transaction's happening instantaneously and directly between two parties. And then because the transaction is only possible between two known parties, the ability for fraud completely is eliminated from it. The advantages for sponsors and asset owners and investors both is superior returns. One of the biggest advantages, you don't have to, as sponsors, you don't have to deal with the higher fees or broker dealer costs for syndicating those deals for you. You don't have to deal with costs associated by your advisors or when you're investing in alternative assets, for that matter. The increased liquidity, as I talked about, on the secondary marketplace, the elimination of cost and intermediaries, reduced time horizon. So you don't have to hold an asset, or you don't need now you can get more and more investors for your deals because they don't have to commit to a 5, 7, 10-year hold period, whatever the length of the project is. They can always sell their share out using the secondary marketplace. There's a broader investment base. So by reducing the minimum investment, bringing it down from 50,000 or 200,000 or 250,000, whatever you're mostly used to raising by a single investor, you can raise a lot more, a lot quickly from a much larger base by bringing that down significantly lower. And then it's the capital is not tied up anymore. It relates to the previous point as well, where secondary marketplace helps you not have to deal with any kind of transfer taxations or any kind of cap table issues or anything on those lines. And then we've provided a platform for the asset owners and then for the investors both to share the data, and so that there's free flow of data and information without any hindrances. So tokenization always increases the security and the fraud aspect associated with it, as well, as long as it's implemented appropriately. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Projects can be divided and recapitalized as needed. They don't need to be done all. It doesn't need to happen all at the same time. There's flexible entry and exit throughout the whole process. So yeah. Now, what happens when an asset is tokenized? Let's assume that there's an asset that's for $1 million, just for ease of calculation. And Adam, you own the asset and you want to sell about $300,000 to $500,000 of equity from that asset in itself. You come to Tokenism. We do our due diligence. We agree on the $1 million price. We start a token sale of 1,000 tokens, each one listed at $1,000. The moment that 300 tokens, the sale of 300 tokens is achieved, which is the minimum amount that you want to sell, the asset, we go to a traditional escrow company and we get to a closing table and we move the asset from your ownership into a new entity, because you have to watch out for the interest of all the token holders. During the tokenization due diligence process, we also agree on who's going to be managing the asset, if it's a stable income asset or if it's a development asset, what the terms of those development will be, and the new entity then follows those exact terms which are agreed during the due diligence process. At this point, you would be given your remaining 700,000 your remaining 700 tokens representing $700,000 of value. The 300 tokens would be distributed amongst the 300 or whatever number of investors in the deal, and the remaining token sale would continue for the balance 200 tokens that you wanted to sell. Once the entire deal is closed or the initial offering period is over, the tokens are the initial offering is closed and the secondary marketplace opens up. That whole initial offering period is 90 days, beyond which anyone who's bought a token can now start selling and trading those tokens freely on the secondary marketplace. Now, how we've set it up on our platform is we've tried to mimic our traditional real estate transaction. So it's not like an exchange where you just list it for sale, or a traditional exchange, I should say. It's more so you list it for a certain price. You can accept counters on it. People can make an offer on your listed token. You can accept, reject, or counter their offer again as well. So we've tried to keep that entire aspect in place as well. One more thing that I'd like to mention is that Tokenism ends up doing cap table management down to every little detail. We issue all the tax documentations at the end of the year. So the structure that we've chosen is a publicly traded LLC structure, which has been possible over the past few years, where now you have LLCs which are traded on the New York Stock Exchange as well. So what that enables us to do, and why that helps investors, is because despite the fact that they're buying tokens, they can still realize the depreciation losses or other benefits of investing in real estate, which a lot of investors choose real estate for as well. So yeah, that's just a quick rundown on how Tokenism tokenizes the assets. Here's just a quick view of what our platform looks like. What a PPM on our platform looks like is just a whole bunch of information just going down, and yeah, that's about it. But I'm happy to take any questions if you guys have any. Happy to answer and talk more about that.
Thank you, Mohsin. Yes, I'm sure we do have some. I know we got one coming right here out of the gate, actually, from Michael. And this is a great question, honestly. I think, especially getting into security tokens. I know a lot of people in cryptocurrency might not be accredited investors, but investing in that. So when it comes to security tokens, do investors have to be accredited?
Right. So there's a process that we have to go through before we can open it up to retail investors. And that's the advantage or the disadvantage of being based out of being a US based tokenization company. What we have decided with the regulators, or what the regulators have guided us to do, is that we have to go through a three-step process. We cannot open up the platform to non-accredited investors from day one. So as of today, and hopefully just till the end of next year, till the end of 2021, we're open to accredited investors only. But beyond that, the intention and the conversations with the regulators is to open up to retail investors and non-accredited investors.
So is that something that someone would have to follow the same process you're going through, where you have to wait that long, or is that just where it is right now?
So even anyone who wants to set up another platform for fractionalizing real estate and offering to retail investors, the SEC is not too friendly with the idea, and they want to see demonstrated efforts, and they want to see you demonstrate how you would be dealing with these security tokens, and how these offerings would come into play for a certain period of time. So for us, the SEC said they want to review it for at least a year before we get our exchange license, and we have to get some more. We have to follow some more steps, not just have our exchange license, in order to open up to retail investors.
And so, Mohsin, I've got a follow-up question to that. So these tokens, when they invest in one of the buildings, so if somebody invests $1,000, are they also subject to the lockup period? So they've got to hold it for 1 year if they're a U.S. investor?
That's not true. So we're making these.
Yeah. So I was asking the question.
I mean, the way that we've resolved for that is we're making these offerings under Reg D 506C exemption. So that lockup period is that 90 to 180 day period based on every offering. It's not for the full 12 months, and it won't be held up for the 12 months. The 506C exemption is a lot more rigorous for us to follow through. We actually have to have verified accredited investors, not just a certification by any investor, hey, not just checking a box. But at the same time, that enables us general solicitation, the reduced lockup period, and that makes our life a lot simpler for at least for our investors in the long term as well.
And then if I bought, let's say, like $50,000 to $100,000 of one of your offerings, and I chose to sell off, like, well, let's say I did $100,000 and I chose to sell off $25,000 to Adam, would we just go through the platform and we could do that?
Right. So in order to remain compliant, every transaction has to go through the platform.
Okay.
If Michael and Adam, if both of you are registered on our platform, you can trade it on our platform. But if you wanted to trade it off our platform, the way the tokens are created, and that's where ERC 1400 and our little tweaks to make all the difference, is that transaction will not happen. The tokens will not transfer. They will only transfer to whitelisted wallets. The transaction can't happen off chain. The way that the transaction happens in our system is such that even if there are two whitelisted wallets, so even if you and Adam are registered on our platform and you wanted to conduct the transaction off our platform, that would still not go through. We have to do that in order to do all the cap table management and in order to remain compliant. And we've got to know all of our customers, and this thing applies to our financial token as well. So again, you could buy our financial token, you could cash in at any point in time on our platform, you could change it from a cryptocurrency into our financial token at any point in time, but you can't trade it just like that. It has to be used for a transaction. Therefore, it's not a cryptocurrency, it's just a financial token, which is used for transactional purposes only.
And I just wanted to back up because some people don't know what cap table is. So cap table is basically your list of equity investors, so that you know who the distributions get sent to and all the rest of it, and who owns what.
That's correct. So who gets how much distribution at which period, who's owned what, who gets what percentage of the depreciation at the end of the year, what percentage of losses get assigned to who. We actually measure that down to the, we have it in 15-minute windows, the way that we have it set up right now, but we have the capability to take it down to the second as to if Michael has owned an asset for, or security token for, 45 days, 12 hours and 32 seconds, or 6 minutes and 32 seconds, we can bring it down to that much detail.
That's some, that eliminates a lot of accounting.
Yeah, it does. And that's a massive advantage for a lot of the developers who are listing on our platform is we're making your life super simple on the fund management side or the deal management side. You don't have to deal with any of the accounting. All that you got to do is plug in some basic numbers periodically, and we get to manage all of that for you. And we take the hassle away from you at no extra charge.
Mohsin, and you may have done this throughout the presentation, I apologize if I missed it, but could you give maybe like a brief high level case study on either a specific asset that you've tokenized that, maybe someone listening or on the replay can find relatable, or maybe just what it was like working with your ideal client, either one of those two?
Sure. So we've tokenized, there's two assets that are on the platform right now. And I'll give you the example for one of those. It's a smaller commercial real estate asset. The asset is valued at $800,000. It's got 5 units in there, short-term hospitality. So short-term rental units, therefore we categorize it as hospitality. It's got some Airbnb units, let's put it that way, in there. How the asset is, the total value of the asset is about $825,000. We've brought in debt for about $412,500 on it. So 50% debt, 50% equity. So the equity raise on it is that 50% chunk. And the total number of tokens issued on that property is 425 tokens. All those 425 tokens are, as for the current owner, once he sells out whatever portion he wants to, and he's okay with selling a minimum of 20% of those tokens and retaining the rest of the 80%. And so in turn, if we sell out 100 out of the 400 tokens, the transaction is going to close and it's going to move on as a fully tokenized asset. And any of the token owners would then be able to trade those tokens on the secondary marketplace right after that initial offering period is over.
Awesome. All right. We have some more questions coming through here. So one coming from Daniela. Are you set up for tokenizing digital real estate as well as real estate? For example, like a Decentraland virtual real estate. Does that ring a bell?
So not virtual real estate, real real estate is what we're tokenizing right now. That's what, again, when you tokenize assets, it's you're tokenizing the economic interest in the assets. You right now, the way the laws are, you're not tokenizing the deed for the asset, but you're tokenizing the ownership through that legal entity. I hope that makes sense in terms of the answer. Not too familiar with virtual real estate otherwise, other than that.
We got a call coming in from our buddy Sharav. He says, who is your ideal customer or avatar? And by the way, congratulations on the upcoming launch. We got two questions here. Also, so along with your ideal customer and avatar, also, what are your high priority business goals associated with the launch?
Thanks, Sharav, for the great comments. But our ideal customer, we're a two-sided marketplace, right? As a business, our excuse me, one side is the investor side, or people who are going to be buying those security tokens, and the other side is the asset owners. So for us right now, our ideal asset owner is someone who has a fully subscribed syndicated deal, who doesn't want to deal with investors or cap table management or redemptions or anything on those lines. So they bring their existing investors on our platform along with their asset. They give up on all of their headaches essentially, and they keep on managing the asset, or they keep on moving forward with the asset, provided they have the experience in it. On the investor side, our ideal investor in the long term is different than what our ideal investor right now is. Unfortunately, we are limited to accredited investors only, but there is a little over 12 million accredited households across the United States. And out of those, about 33% of them are between the ages of 35 and 55. So not the ultra high net worth individuals, but individuals like all of us over here, like people who've made it, who have enough money, who have enough disposable income. Well, not maybe not like Michael and you, Adam, but more so like me, maybe, who've made enough money, who want to invest in real estate, but are not able to diversify, or they can buy one asset or two assets, but they can't take the advantages of diversification and fractional ownership, and who would like the liquidity as well. So that's our ideal customer on the investor side. Big goals associated with the launch. We're expecting on doing our full and formal launch in Q1 of next year. Our goal up till then is to get about 150 customers on the platform by mid-January. And the whole reason for this is just some A/B testing and more customer acquisition strategy testing. We believe that it's best to try, pause, make sure it's happening right, learn, and then go forward. So because we're dealing with a lot of people's money, and it is a very it is a fiscal platform with a lot of finances involved, we want to make sure we've got the right messaging going at. We have no doubts on the platform security or the platform's functionality, but just what the best way to get the messaging out and what are the most favorite features that people like. Like one of the things that we're adding on sooner than we thought would be the ability to link your IRA accounts or your 401k accounts. And again, blockchain enables us to keep everything in a separate silo, where you could invest your IRA dollars into whatever real estate you want and not have to worry about compliance and losing your tax advantages or your tax shelter because the money somehow did not go back into the same account or something on those lines.
Yeah, and I wanted to follow up with another question. So are you targeting a specific real estate asset class, or is it everything from multifamily to commercial and everything else?
Right. So the one thing that we're focusing on is commercial, and commercial includes multifamily, mixed use, retail, industrial, office, warehousing, hospitality, the whole 9 yards. Maybe even farmland someday. You know, farmland is considered as a separate thing. We don't want to get into residential. It's too small, too fragmented. You know, while it may make sense for certain investors, but it's not just the same. It's just not the same kind of asset class to invest in. Now, just what Liberty Fund does is absolutely amazing, right? So triple net properties, beautiful properties for us to bring on board. And I know we've talked about this multiple times, but that's essentially a great asset for us to bring on board as well.
All right.
Awesome. Well, Mohsin, we got about 5 minutes left here. I think we'll kind of squeeze the juice, see what else we can get out. And then if not, then we'll continue. Sharab is following up here. Let me just see. He agrees with you. Split testing and the user goal for Q1 sounds tangible. Great answers. Thank you. All right. Yeah. And, you know, I think for me, one of my takeaways with your case study, and we'll get your contact info too. Actually, let's get that now, just before we forget. We'll put it in the chat, guys.
So feel free to add me on LinkedIn, ask me questions on LinkedIn, or you guys can email me. Adam, you're more than welcome to link both the things to any of your profiles or anything on those lines. My email address is mmasud, MMASUD @tknism.io. And I see you've got it down right there too. So that's in the chat box. So that's perfect.
Yeah.
I just wanted to follow up one more thing, because most interested in getting as much, real estate on the blockchain as possible. So how do developers and owners and people that are syndicators get in touch with you, and what's the process like for?
So we've got a simple form on our website. It's a simple type form where they just fill out what the some basic deal details, or they can get in touch with me directly as well, and we can get the ball rolling. We like to provide a white glove solution to all of our customers on both sides of the marketplace, not just to the investors, but the asset owners as well. The way that we've developed the platform is you provide some basic information, and then someone is going to call you within 24 hours, and you get text updates, and you get email updates and whatnot on that. We started due diligence process. It takes about 30 days for the complete detailed due diligence to happen. And we sign off on our agreement post the due diligence, and we start, tokenizing an asset takes us maybe a couple of hours.
Okay.
Not much more than that. But part of that due diligence process is making sure that we can agree to everything, getting all the legal docs in place, getting the offering registered, and then getting it ready for the platform. So hence the 30 to 40 days for that process.
That still sounds pretty, pretty easy to do. So
yeah, it is. So the developer doesn't have to deal with anything to do with blockchain as such. We'll ask them to set up an account online. The way that we set up our platform is when we're setting it up, my thought process was it should be so simple that my grandma can access it. So you don't have to download MetaMask, or you don't have to download something crazy or some crazy browser or something like that. You just use your email address and you log in. We've got all the security features in there. Any financial transaction must go through a two-factor authentication, which has to be on a separate device. So we've built in a lot of features on the security side, but oversimplified the sign up and transaction process. We've tried to keep it as simple as possible for everyone.
Yeah, and like I said, I think the investors are out there and they're hungry for some great assets. It's getting the assets up and listed. So
of course, the investors are out there. It's always about chicken or the egg, right? Whether the investors are going to come first or the assets are going to come first. My background in real estate kind of helped me out with that. We just committed 14 of our own assets on the platform. We said, hell, we're going to resolve that problem for chicken and the egg. We'll just wait on the investors to join the platform and let everyone else join the platform as and when they feel more comfortable. So luckily, we've had a lot of success so far, and we can't complain at all.
Yeah, well, I am very happy that we got to meet at LA Blockchain and share the panel together. And I told everybody, I'm like, this guy is the guy that we need to get onto the Chicago Blockchain Real Estate Collective, because he can explain how he's actually doing real tokenization, and it's a real thing. So
thank you. I appreciate it. And Michael, you're way too kind. Your kind words at the beginning. I'm not the smartest guy on this. I was not the smartest guy on the panel. You know a lot more than I do, but I really, really appreciate the kind words.
I don't know anything about blockchain. So everybody starts talking to me about blockchain and cryptocurrency. It's like, I'm a real estate guy.
Yeah. Once I get into something, I've got to learn enough about it for me to be dangerous with it, and then to actually do something with it. So it was one of those things. That's why I went to side business school. It's like, hey, when I started to learn about blockchain, I didn't know much, but now I've got to get these. I've got to get to know about what's happening, what's not happening. So yeah.
Well, we really appreciate you coming on and explaining everything. And we think that people are going to get a lot of value out of this. I know I did. So and
Mohsin, what's the is there a good way to also keep in touch with you? Like, do you have a newsletter or a place where we can go to get more information on your end?
Of course. So you guys can subscribe to Tokenism's newsletter. It's right at the top of our website. I believe it's right at the top of the website. I'm so sorry. It's on the main page.
If not, they can email you for it, right?
Yeah, or you could always email me, and I will put you on there. But yes, you can subscribe to our newsletter. We're fairly active on LinkedIn, not so active on other social media platforms, maybe a little bit on Twitter. But our medium of choice has been LinkedIn and our own website so far. Always happy to keep everyone in touch. Just email me, join our newsletter on our website. Either way works. We've got a team of 14 people we're working on this right now, and we've done all of our development in-house. So if there's something as a syndicator that's closer to your heart than what we've developed so far, I'm sure we can add certain features specifically as well.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Mohsin. Guys, here we go. Thank you for joining us here at the Chicago Blockchain Real Estate Collective. For the record, our next meetup will be in December before Christmas. We're still working on a definitive date, but probably a Thursday before Christmas. The guest also to be determined, but we have some really cool people in the pipeline. I'll say that thanks to Michael's networking skills in Dubai, or I don't know, somewhere where he went, he met another cool person that we're going to bring on here.
We might actually be talking about tokenizing gold and tokenizing actual assets. So if we can land the guest, but we're just trying to get people that can explain and actually push security tokens. So. And adoption.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. We'll get you. Well, you know what? Let's get to that here too now. Mohsin, any closing remarks?
Well, happy Thanksgiving, guys. It's Turkey Day coming up soon. So no, but thank you so much for having me. I think what you guys are doing here is absolutely amazing. Educating people on this is the single most difficult and the most important aspect. People need to understand what tokenization is and what security tokens truly are and how they can leverage it. And thank you for doing this and putting this together and getting all the information out there.
Our pleasure. And Michael, I'll flip it to you one more time before I close it out. Any more words?
Again, Mohsin, I wanted to thank you for coming on and doing a great talk. And like I said, it's been very educational. I just want to remind everybody that the libertyfund.io sponsors the Chicago Blockchain Real Estate Collective. We've got all the replays of every one of the Chicago Blockchain Real Estate Collectives on our website. And we've got a bunch of other great, informational thing, because we're all about education. We want to really educate people. We think an educated investor is, somebody that's going to be a happy investor. So that's what we're most interested in. And that's why we are trying to get some really good guests like Mohsin on. So again, thank you very much.
All right, guys. And as we mentioned, we have a big announcement coming up for our guest, hopefully next month. So the best place to get the updates for all things Chicago Blockchain Real Estate Collective related are the meetup page. So that's meetup.com/CBREC1, the number one. That's meetup.com/CBREC1. Go ahead and subscribe there and hang out with us. And again, thank you for investing your time here today. If you enjoyed the meetup, be sure to subscribe if you're watching the replay, wherever you're tuned in. If it's not meetup.com, either on YouTube or on the Dream Chasers platform, it just really helps with the SEO of what we're doing all together. So I really appreciate that. Guys, thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you at the next meetup. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night and happy Thanksgiving.